I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf. I'm a lone wolf.
Good evening, people. Coming up in about 7-8 minutes. So if you're watching an archive version on Facebook or on YouTube, then you might want to fast forward about, 7-8 minutes. Just looking at what the Parliament is doing today with regards to these Brexit amendments. And I think Dave Simpson's going to come on as well to give us an update on his homeless campaign in Wales. And taking your calls on Discord, gov.ly/rant. So please, tell us, what do you want to talk about?
Whispering my name, no, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a lone wolf.
Yeah, it definitely helps to press the stream button, doesn't it? Okay, so we're streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you're watching an archive version, you might want to fast forward just about 4 or 5 minutes. It's all Facebook, blimey. It's all copyright-free Facebook. You don't think I'd pay for this, do you? Come on. No, I'm very, very grateful to Topher Moa for writing this. Blimey. You know what? I'm not really grateful to that.
No, I'm not a writer.
Okay.
Give up on my way home, yeah. Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Wouldn't it be crazy? Don't you still amaze me? Give up on my way home, yeah.
Hold on, this is Barclay, this is Stephen Barclay. Let's see what he wants to say.
Of certainty
this is live in the comments
as to what the consequences of those amendments will be, because the danger, as my chief whip Boris Dean pointed out, they will act in essence as a Trojan horse against the intention.
Not much of a Trojan, really, is it?
For a minute, doubt the member for West Dorset when he says changing standing orders has precedent. Of course it does. But there's been no debate with the Procedure Committee. There's been no debate in this House to look at this. And the wider constitutional implications that have been referred to by leading experts in this field cannot simply be swept away in the short-term convenience of the moment. The amendment from my rightable friend, the member for Meriden, again is one put forward with great principle, but she spoke of a simple vote on saying no to no deal. And the issue was really taken head-on by the member for Belfast North when he pointed out the practical effect of taking no deal off the table does not facilitate that intention. And I absolutely agree with the right honourable gentleman in that regard. And indeed, it's not just on the DUP benches that view is held. Michael Barnier himself said on the 24th of January.
Oh, mate, I mean, this is the bloke that supports a veto for a foreign power. I mean, come on.
Holding on.
More or less bumpy or heading for the no deal.
Holding on.
A bloody lot of bloody charlatans.
I know.
Oh no, and this bloke, he's depressed, isn't he? He's so depressed, this bloke. Hang in there, man.
Holding on. Don't let me repeat it. Don't let me repeat it.
Well, tell us why, for crying out loud. Do cheer up, blimey. Sounds like a moron. Holding on to it. That's right, a couple of years transition, that'll do.
So can you.
You had no idea what you were voting
For
for.
too long about the mistakes. While I resent, I learned to hate. Forgot your names. Fear the struggle to follow on. Need to focus to prove you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I know I'm.
Hold on a sec. Hold on. Alright, okay, that's it, mate. You've had it. Yeah. Blimey. Oh, hey folks. Doo-doo. Yeah. Good evening, good people. Welcome to the Daily Brexit. Daily bloody Brino. Holding democracy to account, fighting for self-determination, and exposing plutocracy. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. And now... I should change my sound drivers. That was a good suggestion last night in the comments. Thank you. Got to update the sound drivers. Yeah, amendments. So, have they extended Article 50, or are they going to do it in the next, I don't know, hour or something? Probably. The latest from the EU fanboys in the Commons, an update from homeless awarenic Dave Simpson, and taking your calls on Discord. gov.ly/rant. Oh, we've got Downliner here in the green room. God bless you, Downliner. And we'll catch up in the comments. Please help the show. paypal.me/Brexit. Big cheers. Or suggest a guest. That's always cool. Just let me know and I'll try to be organised. Please share the show, all that. Get involved. Let people know that we're talking, we're thinking, we're watching. We are active. I don't know what for what. They're not listening in there, are they? Hold on, I'll put this Commons video thing on. You can see what I can see. What an absolute joke this lot are. Right, so that they're walking off to have a vote on an amendment now, by the looks of it. Oh, look at that. We've got Hercules in the green room too. Cool. Excellent. That's what we need. I want a good moan with you tonight, folks. gov.ly/rant. Oh, downliner. Can you hear me there? We've got the Commons humdrum in the background, if you're wondering. And let me just see if I can put on something that you can then see too. Just bear with me, people.
The question is, an amendment A be made? There we go.
That's the book.
Of the country, no. Tell us for the ayes, Nick Dakin and Thangham Debonair. Tell us for the noes, Wendy Morton and Ian Stewart.
Oh, aren't we lucky? Aren't we all lucky? Aren't we so lucky? Hold on a sec. I wonder how many times my sound card is going to cut out tonight. Probably a few times, I suspect. I do need to change the drivers, I think. So I appreciate whoever it was that suggested that. State the bleeding obvious. Yeah, thank you. You're absolutely right. Yeah, so, okay, it's Big Amendments Day in the Commons, isn't it? That's what's going on. And I figured it would be interesting to cover a bit of it and see what's going on, because it may well be that over the course of the next hour or so, they do extend Article 50. Surprise, surprise. Something that this show, by the way, sorry to blow my own trumpet or something, but has been predicting since pretty much that it came on 200 or so episodes ago. And that is clearly, that was always the goal. It's what they're doing. It's what they're going for. The point is, people, we got to wake up and see this is democracy being absolutely just ridden underfoot, roughshod and all that by these EU fanboys in the House. And I think we need to get real to it. I think we need to see what it is. And I think that we need to, for crying out loud, stop voting for this lib lab con with the emphasis on the con. Right, okay, so we've got Don Davidson here as well. Can you hear me, Don?
Yes, I can now.
How are you, mate? God bless you. From Ohio.
I'm great, thank you. What's going on today?
Well, they're just having they're going off to a vote on something or other, probably whether or not they can usurp democracy. That's what's going on in the UK Parliament at the moment. I'll turn the volume of that down a wee bit, and so we can hear your dulcet tones instead, Don, please. Oh, because I'm curious to hear from you, being a stateside chap. What do you think is the deal now with Trump's wall, with his election pledge, and basically the state of US politics? Because it sounds as though he's caved, and that the Democrats have scored themselves a victory here with his reopening the government. But did he have any choice? I don't know. You tell me.
I was concerned about whether he caved or not myself. I'm waiting to see how it turns out. But the point is that I think tonight is the 29th, so he's supposed to give the State of the Union speech tonight. And so,
that's not going to happen, is it?
Well, it's not supposed to, according to Pelosi, but, he could put it in some other room. I don't know. It has to be in the House of Representatives place. So that remains to be seen.
Now, hold on. Whoa. Don, hold that thought. One sec. Let me just take this call. Oh, blimey. Where is it? It's on Skype, isn't it? Right. Oh, don't you just... How do I answer the damn thing? Oh, I don't know where the tab is to answer this call. Somebody called last night during the show, and I didn't take the call. I do apologise for that, whoever it was. Right, okay. Right, okay. Please call back. I think that might be Dave Simpson. I suspect. But if it was you that called last night, whoever it was that called up, the reason that I didn't take your call during the show is because my guest was on Skype, was using Skype last night, and the only way I could have taken your call would have been by cutting him off. And so, obviously, I didn't want to do that because it would have been rude. Okay, I just had to reboot the audio again. Sorry, Don. Okay, right. So you are kind of still waiting to see what you think is the deal. But you don't know whether or not there's going to be a State of the Union. Is that the deal?
Yeah, I don't know that right now.
Right.
I'm hoping that he would go ahead and put it out, because he's allowing people to believe that Pelosi got more power than he does if he doesn't, come out that way. And
you see, this is
really
one of this though is one of the issues with US politics, isn't it? Because people, they vote for a president, but they also vote for both houses, and so they can divide the power. And apparently, whether you like it or not, it looks as though they've chosen to do so again. I mean, you could maybe blame the electoral system or whatever, but the fact is that the nation is divided.
Yes, but
That's a question, really, sir. That's a question, really. But it is, no?
I believe that it is somewhat divided there. I don't understand why our politics is working the way it is. Once you elect somebody, then the Senate and the House of Representatives should get behind that president and move forward instead of sitting there and constantly dividing each other about everything.
Yeah, but I would tend to agree with you. But on the other hand, if people are also voting Democrat in the midterms or whenever they are, then clearly they're not. I mean, this is, I guess the problem is we've just got a stalemate, whether we like it or not. That's what's going on in the States, and you could argue it's going on in the UK. I personally think it's more clear cut. I mean, what was it? 408 out of 650 constituencies voted to leave the EU in general election terms, and you think, I guess, your MP is supposed to represent you, but apparently they're not. They're saying, talking about, it's national interest and what have you. Well, you know what? The national interest, it was a national referendum where every vote counted. If you want to put it on those terms, and you decided to give, blimey, I tell you, I just say the same. I feel like I just parrot the same stuff every day, Don, because it is Groundhog Day, isn't it? And it's kind of the same. Oh, hold on a sec. Hold on. Let's hear what Burke has to say. Hold on. I suppose this is I don't know which amendment this is. We'll find out in a minute. Tell me in the comments, please. We better know, because this basically could well be, we're strapped in for at least another year, and we can have many, many more completely meaningless negotiations, and blah, 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 blah. We'll just keep morons in charge, etc., etc. Is that what they're going to do? I think it's what they're going to do. We might find out in a sec. I'll take a few comments as well. Bear with me a sec, Don. I will come back to you, sir. Wim Collett says, in 2020, the EU treaty will be signed in Lisbon, and all EU countries must comply with this law above international law. Do you agree? Yes or no? The Treaty of Lisbon is a treaty of the European Union signed in Lisbon on the 13th of December 2007. The Europe 2020 strategy is the long-term strategy of the European Union, which was adopted at the European Council of June 17th, 2010, was adopted by the heads of government of the EU countries. This strategy aims to develop the European economy into a highly competitive social and green market economy. It builds on the Lisbon strategy, which ran until 2010, and also has a 10-year duration. Go out of the EU. Wim Collett, nice to see you in the comments. Thank you. And a new face. If you'd like to call in and have a chat with us, you'd always be very, very welcome, sir. Anyone that does, gov.ly/rant. Mark Painter simply says, Farage trying to derail UKIP. And indeed, the Brexit Party is something that this show has been talking about quite a bit. And I'd like to hear what more people think about it. Is this just a deliberate trying to scupper UKIP when you'd think UKIP would do very well at the next election off the back of, what was it, today? In fact, here we go. It's the top story on Westminster. Labour to support no deal bloc. And that's today, yeah? That's today. That's going on right now in this House of Scummins. That's what's going on there. And so Corbyn has basically gone, yeah, okay, Blairites, you know what? I'll side with you on this, and we'll kick Brexit into the long grass, etc., etc., etc. It seems to me there is an incredible opportunity for UKIP, or there was, with all of these Conservatives and Labour lot 80% voted basically for Labour or Conservative at the last general election. And guess what? The will of those people who, I guess that they voted on their manifestos is, again, it's being scuppered. And I would have thought, yeah, a lot of folks would say, okay, we're going for UKIP now. And of course, now it's all confused again with more divide rule with the Brexit Party. Or am I wrong? I'm being overly cynical. And maybe Farage never talks about FCO 301048 for a completely different reason. I don't know. You tell me. But I find it very difficult to trust these people, frankly. Ken Lansley, this OS Corbyn's amendment. Oh, blimey. Well, in that case, we better listen to it, hadn't we? Guess what? The feed is frozen from Parliament Live. Let me see if I can get this. Let me see if I can get it back. Don, hey, you awake?
Yes, I'm here.
Good. Sorry, I went on a bit of a rant there, mate. Here we go. Right. So is this the amendment? Okay, let's see what the deal is here. Burko. I mean, you know, this bloke, geez, just making it up as he goes along. What does he think he is? The Catholic faith? Okay, they're still getting there. Matt Waterhouse says, Ollie, Article 50 can't be extended without EU approval. Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree, Matt. I know that. I hear that. Thank you for pointing it out. The thing is that they're not going to want to lose their cash cow, are they? It's extraordinarily unlikely that they're going to say no. I mean, you tell me. I hope to God that Poland, for example, says, no, we're on the side of the British people, even if their government isn't. But I don't think that's going to happen. Somehow. And in the case of Poland, for example, they've got tens of billions of investment going in over this year, last year, from the EU. So, you know, okay, here we go. So here's the Burke.
The ayes to the right, 296. The noes to the left, 327.
We better make sure we know which amendment this is.
The ayes to the right, 296. The noes to the left, 327. The noes have it. The noes have it. Unlocked. We now come in the name of the Right Honourable Gentleman, the member for Ross, Skye and Loch Arbour, Mr Ian Blackford, the Right Honourable Gentleman to move his amendment O, formally moved. Thank you. The question is that the amendment O, be made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary.
Right, well, this is SNP bloke, isn't it? So it's not going to be...
Clear the lobby.
Yeah, so it's more another Brino amendment, I suppose. Look, if anybody can tell me what the detail was on that one that just got voted down, and I'll see if I can see it in the comments there. They just voted no to one. UKIP would have been in a completely different position today if Farage didn't F off when he did, says Kerry J. Swan. It was all a great pity. I mean, it was a great pity. The guy, I don't know about you, I idolised him during the campaign. I just thought he was very, very impressive, the greatest orator in the country, and he just seems to have, I don't know, just seems to be creating problems where the one thing we need to get around is Brexit, because if we don't sort out Brexit, we can't sort out anything else. We have no crying out loud if we have no Brexit. And I don't know if my audio keeps popping in and out. Please let me know. I do need to sort out this sound card though. Thomas White, all MPs, no matter what. Rosetta. Again, I had to reboot my sound card again. Yeah, okay, I mustn't. Right, okay, Burko.
Made. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. Of the contrary, no. No. Tellers for the ayes.
Oh, it's all a load of old panto, isn't it? Basically, Downliner, can you hear me? Or Hercules?
Hello.
Hello, Hercules. Haven't seen you around here before, sir. Or at least not for a while. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you doing?
Very well. What would you like to say, sir, please?
Oh, hello, Ollie. I'm going to be honest with you, Ollie.
Go on.
Aye.
Hold Okay, you can be honest now. I apologise. I just had to reboot the sound card again. Hercules,
that's okay, my
please.
friend. That's
Go on.
okay.
Go on. Tell me what you want to say.
No, I just think, from my perspective, I campaign to remain. I still believe it's the right decision. My feeling about it is that it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. I'm not blaming people like you because you believe what's the best for this country. And you've seen a lot of really bad feelings across, like people like you and people like me. And I just think we need to find a new way, don't we? And we do need to find a kind of a compromise from each side and see how we can move this.
The thing is, so far as the EU is concerned, it's impossible to find a compromise, isn't it? You're either all in or you're all out, and we did have that. We did have that campaign. Yeah. I'm not suggesting it was an honest campaign on either side, because I don't think it was. Because actually, I don't think that they went hard enough and explained really what the problems are with the EU. Is the argument I would give for that. But the fact is that since that campaign and since that vote, is it not the case that we have had people that are EU fanboys in power negotiating with the EU, and it just doesn't add up? That's not the way to conclude a successful business deal.
Yeah, but the problem is that in the country, because my feeling when you see the EU, I mean, you hear a lot of the stories about EU and it's going to crash, it's going to do awful things, it's bureaucratic, it's dysfunctional.
Well, I'd agree with all of that, but carry on.
Yeah, but on the other hand, you have to admit the EU is a major global power. We've come in here. We're a country. Now, I'm going to be blunt here, and I know people like yourself are a very patriotic country, and that's a great thing.
No, go on, please. It's good to hear. You know what? I think you're about the first Remainer that's ever come on the show, and actually, I'm grateful. Okay. I'm really grateful to hear a fresh view. So please do carry on.
No, because I on a wider basis, I think I'm getting fed up of this kind of Remainer reliever people attacking each other.
Yeah.
And my feelings is I'm gravely worried about the issue, but it's better to have a conversation in a really decent manner at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And my feeling is that we went into this without the biggest problems we had was there was no plan whatsoever and about what is the compromise. We went into the European Union with discussion, demanded everything, but offered nothing. The reason why.
Hold on, whoa! Hold on a sec. First of all, Cameron went to talk to Juncker and Tusk and all that to discuss some kind of a compromise. And they refused to give an inch, and then we had the referendum campaign. But with regards as to what has or has not been organised off the back of that, again, I put it back to you. But this is precisely the plan. This is what they want. This is absolutely the chaos that they want. Theresa May, she wants to stay in the EU. She voted to remain. She is not a leaver. And neither is Ollie Robbins, nor pretty much any of the people in the cabinet. There's only about 3 people in the cabinet now who are remotely Brexiteer. All the rest of them, dozens of them, are Remainers. And is that really carrying out the business, the democratic will of the British people for a government to be running this whole joke? With people that don't even want to leave, let alone to negotiate seriously. And I'll give you a good example of that, the best example of that. The Northern Irish backstop is a trade issue. It was the EU that said, we don't want to talk trade. We're not going to have parallel talks. We will sort out the divorce settlement first and then talk trade. But then they bring in one key aspect of trade, the Northern Irish border, and Theresa May, Remainer, says, oh, okay, we'll talk about that bit of trade then, fine. She basically completely rolled over. You say that the British government wanted their cake and eat it sort of thing. Actually, it's been the other way round. And the British government, a Remainer-led government, has been very, very happy to tickle the EU tummy, it seems to me.
Well, okay, 2 things there. You talk about, having a Remainer cause, having Theresa May on the front, as you say. But where are all the leavers? Where's David Davis? Where's Boris Johnson?
Well, they've all quit
where are
because
all
they
these-
disagreed with Chequers. And
the
quite
problem is,
right.
and that's
It should have brought down Theresa May, but it didn't because we're in such a perverse state of political denial. The disparity between the politicians and the people. I don't know. I'm ranting. Please carry on.
No, but that's my problem, is it? You had, a group of, people like Boris Johnson, David Davis. We'll get everything. David Davis, he was a Europe minister, for God's sake. He should know everything about, he spent 2 or 3 years working, and he was going in about, all we need to do is get the BMW to call up Angela Merkel, and then she'll do everything.
That's right, but we didn't do that, though, did we? Maybe they should have listened to him when he said that.
Because he was just such incredibly naive to ask that kind of question.
Why? Why does politics have to be complicated by middlemen? Do the European people, the British people, the French, to trade together or not? Is it any more complicated than that? Hold on. Burke, okay. just one second. Bear with me. Okay. If you've got to go, you're probably more interesting than Burko. So carry on, Hercules.
No, it's just that the biggest failure you had, and this is why we're in such trouble. There was no plan. There was absolutely no plan in place. That's not the fault of people
plan?
like yourself.
Plan for what? Plan for which bit? For any of it?
How
to remain.
Not to remain, to leave. About
how do we do that? Is that not because they desperately do not want us to leave? The civil service was politicized. What you tell me if I'm wrong here? It seems to me that it was politicized largely under Tony Blair's tenure, with this whole sofa politics thing that took over, and the civil service is absolutely chock-a-block full again of people that are in cahoots with the EU fan club. Again, not the same sentiment as that of the British public.
Yeah, but hold on there. I can't say because about the civil service, but what I'm talking about here about the Leave campaign. You had about 20 or 30 years. Like yourself, maybe spent campaigning to leave European Union. Within that time, you had no plan whatsoever. If I understand well, I think Institute of Government, I can't remember which one, a think tank said, okay, we'll pay 100 grand for proposed it. And every time they tried to propose it, he realized it alienated a group of people. So there was no agreed line. Okay, how do we leave the process? The thing about do you
not, Hercules, think it is a conceivable theory, given the makeup politically of these various characters in their positions of negotiating power with the EU and so on and so forth? Is it not conceivable that actually this is completely what they've been gunning for, so that they could throw open this whole Project Fear thing that, for example, the BBC has been perpetrating, just showing one side of the story all the time. So, for example, they had some EU fangirl from MI5 or something, somebody with a double barrel, a couple of days ago, who's saying how we desperately need to listen to, for example, Cressida Dick. It's all going to be terrible. It's a security risk. The BBC, and they interviewed her for 10 minutes. A few days ago, we had some MI6 head and Lord Guthrie, another security expert, both wrote letter to all the MPs saying, if we do not leave on WTO terms, if we give up a veto to this competitor, we're mad. We have a security risk, a huge security risk there. My point is that there's so much bias. There's only one side of the debate really being covered by the mainstream media. Even the Express, for crying out loud, is now in their editorials telling people how they should get behind Theresa May's deal, they were saying. A deal that will give a competitor a veto over your future. Absolute madness, for crying out loud. Is it not conceivable, Hercules, this long question, that this whole lack of preparedness is just part of this whole mechanism to run down the clock, as they say, but actually not for no deal, but to wear people out to the extent that people will just say, I've had enough, let's just carry on, we'll stick with the EU.
Okay, well, I'll say this. If you think the last 2 years is going to be bad, wait until we have to negotiate the next 5 years with the rest of the trade deals. I mean, people complain about...
We've got WTOs. We don't need to negotiate anything, particularly.
But which country does that? Name me a country that deals with the WTO.
On WTOs, practically every country on the face of the planet. But about 170 countries operate exclusively on WTO terms, and including the United States with the EU, China with the EU, etc., etc.
No, there's a... hang on, what about Japan? Do the European Union...
I think they just worked out a trade deal after many, many years, but it's new, as I understand it. Hold on a sec. Hercules, one sec.
I gotta go.
Okay. Well, please, call back. Please call back another time, sir. It's good to talk to you. All right.
Hey, pleasure. See you soon, okay?
God bless you, man.
Left were 327.
The eyes
Oh.
to the right,
Oh, blimey.
39.
Oh.
The nose to the left, 327.
39
So
to
the
327.
nose have it.
So I
The
don't know what
nose
that
have
was.
it.
But that's the SMB's 39 to 327. Why did he call a division if it was so clearly biased on one side? That's kind of weird as well. Okay, we've got Downliner here as well. John, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now, Ollie?
Yeah, man. Yeah, let me just turn your volume up a bit.
I'll turn mine up.
Oh, please do. Yeah. Right. Are you following this circus in the comments? I mean, I don't know. I might be wrong, but it seems to me it's pretty clear what's going to happen. The vote, where the single vote that matters, are we going to basically extend Article 50? They will.
Yeah, they're going to. I mean, George Soros didn't just put billions into the people's vote, which is, if you've ever watched one of those Parliament things, that's all you ever talk about. I mean, you've got Anna Soubry, whose constituency voted to leave.
Yeah,
the majority,
that's right. By 70%.
Exactly. And every single speech, she says people's vote at least 5 times.
Yeah.
He was recently kicked out of Hungary for election meddling and forced to flee to Germany.
Yeah, that's right. He was. Soros was kicked out of Hungary, wasn't he? Yeah. And he said his university closed down and all sorts there. He's a menace to democracy, isn't he? He's a classic plutocrat.
Well, yeah, but it's foreign interference. I see it as. I mean, if it was Putin who was running the Leave campaign, that'd be front page headlines. But not when it's George Soros. That don't make sense.
I think they have. Don't they have a law in the United States called the Logan Act, which, as I understand it, makes it illegal for politicians to have political dealings with foreigners. And as I understand it, that's the Logan Act. And it seems to me that we desperately need something like that in the UK, no?
Well, yeah, we have that, but then you got George Soros who actually...
do we have that? I don't think we do, actually.
They have it.
Oh, they have it, yeah.
But George Soros donated, what is it, $1 billion to the Clinton campaign?
Yeah, that's right. They seem to ignore it. Yeah, you're right.
So they have it, but they ignore it. It's like every law that they don't like, they just ignore.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
right.
right.
I don't watch this circus show anymore. I'm tired of it.
I'm a couple of minutes behind the TV, says Jane. Yeah, I probably am. I'm behind in every which conceivable way. Yeah, okay, all right.
You know what's interesting? You only ever see a full house.
Hey, John?
You only ever see a full house on Wednesdays when it's PMQs and when they're talking about MP pay rises every other day in Parliament. Try and look at the live feed on BBC Parliament. There's no one there.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Just there for your amusement, just there to keep up the illusion that this is a democracy. And clearly it isn't, otherwise we would have accepted that decision.
The thing that is kind of ironic about all of this proceeding going on is that they are essentially Turkey's calling for Christmas, aren't they? Because the EU, Merkel, Macron, Juncker, Tusk, they've all stood up there and said how we basically need to throw in all of our lot with the EU and get rid of our local, everything, basically. And even pool all the military together. And then some drunk like Juncker can be in charge of the nuclear button. the nuclear
and he
arsenal
can't
the
even be
British
removed.
taxpayers have paid for
Junker
decades.
can't even be removed. A drunken Frenchman at the head of the pile, and you can't even get rid of him.
It's incredible. It's incredible. But these people, they are voting for that. They are voting basically to make themselves redundant. Ultimately, we've got Frank 321 here. Frank, can you hear me, sir? New caller. But these people, they are voting.
He's on mute.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, Ollie.
What would you like to say, sir?
It's just sick what's going on, mate. Everything's just evil. The whole lot, everything. Left and right. They're all fighting each other. They're all pulling their hair out. It looks like there's going to be a big fucking war coming soon.
Looks like they've had the paychecks, now they're going.
Yeah, paychecks, £80 a day they get.
Did you hear about the MP who works in the European Union, who just, was it Heseltine, or was it...
Michael
Heseltine?
Heseltine?
Lost Thatcher.
Sorry? Go on, John. Sorry?
Who was that guy who lost in 92 to Thatcher?
Oh, that was Heseltine, Michael Heseltine, yeah. What about him?
Yeah, well, him and his wife, they put the plane trip to the MEP on expenses to go in, sign on for the 15-minute thing, and then leave and take a plane back to the UK just so they can get £170 a day expense.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That was uncovered in the news, but in the media, wasn't it? A couple of years back.
Yeah.
I just want to say, just briefly, Dave Simpson, if you're watching and you tried calling me on Skype, I do apologise for not even taking your calls. It's because I didn't know which tab to open to take it. So please call again and we'll have a chat and you can give us an update from the homeless situation in Wales. And I'm sure a few folks who heard you on the show last week or so, a couple of weeks ago, would appreciate that. I'd also like to say another couple of show notes, just very, very briefly. It looks like Kate Fanning is going to be popping on the show in the next couple of days. I just had a message pop up right now. I think many do not appreciate their freedom of speech until it's taken from them. But I have a voice. It's about time I started using it. She said, Kate, and I look forward. I look forward very, very much. I don't know who of you saw Kate a very, very heartfelt essay. Hit story of her personal situation and what's happened to her on the other day on Facebook. She put it on her profile and it was quite remarkable. And so God bless you, Kate. I look forward very much to having a chat with you on the show. And I think we've got Dave here now. Dave Simpson. Good evening, sir.
Hiya. Good
Hello,
evening,
mate.
Ollie. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. I'm suffering from a bit of cold, but I'm surviving. Man flu, you know.
Okay, what story do you want first? Because I've got one on Brexit and I've got one on the homeless. What do you want first, mate?
Okay, give us. Go on, Joe. Go on, John.
I said I'll mute myself for now because it's going to be interesting, this one.
All right, God bless you, mate, and please pop back on. We've got Carl Stephen here as well, and I want to hear more from Frank as well. But Dave, I know you've called in specially to give us an update, so please do. Brexit first, sir.
Okay, I had a local council leader, Anthony Hunt, who is the leader of the local council, sent a letter into Welsh Assembly urging the leader, the first
Minister of Wales.
Yeah, to urging him for a second referendum. We voted 60-40 to leave. So I asked for a question to be asked. I couldn't make the council meeting today, and I was going to watch it on webcast. So I tuned in at 10 o'clock to watch it on webcast. They didn't stream it live. So when I eventually got round to finding out what happened, he said that it was his personal view. He actually put leader of Torvine Council next to his name on the letter, along with others. I have questioned that. I then questioned why it wasn't webcast to the public. And there was, I did a video myself on Facebook and called out the local leader. And it turns out that he said it was his personal view. If you're going to put your personal view on a letter, you don't put the leader of the council next to it. The problem we've got, Ollie, is, like I said to you before, 22 areas in Wales 17 of those 22 areas voted to leave. We have got AMs and MPs wanting to leave, wanting to remain in. They're even setting up meetings called Stop This Brexit Nonsense. Democracy, it's gone. Wales needs to rise up. The last time we had anybody that rose up in Wales was 1839.
The last time what, Dave? The last time what?
The last time the peasants rose in Wales was in 1839. It's called the Chartist movement.
Right.
And they shot 22 of them. But today, I think the public have woke up and seen that their leader has written a letter on behalf of his personal views, which are to remain in the EU. Absolutely disgraceful, Ollie. And people are going to be waking up. And if he thinks he's going to get in the next election, he's got another thing coming, because I will constantly remind people that he doesn't represent the people when you do vote him in.
Yes. Yes.
So that's my story on Brexit.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. And it's really, it's very good to hear a Welsh perspective, frankly, as well. Let me just take a few comments and then we'll go on to the homeless situation, please. Mandy Genre, if vote it makes M feel special and wanted, so we know what to do then. I probably didn't pronounce that correctly. David Brown, need to clean up this swamp, so corrupt. David Laddie, I don't know how they can vote no deal down without changing the law. Well, that's precisely what they will be doing, David. That is what they will be doing, as I understand it. Lisa Fuji, Mark Drakeford is the First Minister of Wales. His son is well, I don't know that I can say on air, really. But, Lisa, that is, wow, that's quite an accusation. And if you've got any further details, you're very welcome. But, yeah, sure. I mean, there's a lot of very dodgy characters about, frankly. Thomas White, I'm fine, thanks, Kerry. It's in the comments there. And Sarah Bowler, no one wants a civil war. But I honestly believe that is where we are heading. Unfortunately, David Brown, why aren't they representing the people, which is their job? I completely... To me, this is way more about democracy than ever it was about Brexit now. Brexit was about democracy, but now we're democracy. This is about democracy. Mick Felton, I'll never vote again. My trust in this government and future governments, they are only interested themselves and what they believe in. I thought we voted to them in to serve us, the people. And the people voted to leave. I wish Guy Fawkes had done the job he set out to do when we might not have got these bunch of clowns in Parliament. At the moment, leave means leave. Like said, I'll never vote again. Mick, God bless you, man. First time commenter there. Kevin Burke, Theresa May's deal is not a deal. It's a withdrawal agreement. Well, yeah, Kevin, except it's not even a withdrawal agreement, is it? I mean, it's subject to the EU. It's and I just had to reboot the sound card again. Fortunately,
the sound card
doesn't take too long. Hey, go on, John. What's that?
Hold on, Frank's speaking.
Frank. Oh, hold on. No, Frank actually had his microphone open and I could hear his, I don't know, a dog or something. Anyway.
Sorry, I was making a cup of tea. Sorry.
Good on you, Frank. Always good to make a cup of tea, mate. Carl Stephen, what would you like to say, sir?
Hello, Ollie. How are you doing? Happy New Year and all the rest.
Hey,
a couple of things, really. With the WTO,
yes.
If we have to denounce Article 50, activate WTO, haven't we got 10 years with the rules of WTO to actually organise trade deals with? By activating Article 50, put you on a shorter scale.
As I understand it, we do, yes. As I understand it, there is a sort of a time concession there and what have you. I don't know. I mean, yeah. As I understand it, that is the case.
And the other one is when they keep going on about having another referendum or people's vote, they're calling it, isn't it? But it's a referendum.
Yeah.
isn't there meant to be 5 years between referendums? So even if that's the case, there'll be another 2.5 years before they could implement a referendum anyway.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that. Is that the case?
Yeah, Caroline Stevens posted something a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
And it was an Article 71, I think it was.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
beyond the ball. But yeah, interesting.
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of that. I'll try. Just.
The nose to the left, 321.
That was a close vote there. I had no idea what it was about. If anyone wants to let me know in the comments, then I'll be very grateful. Right, okay, let's change subject for a minute, Dave, and then we'll come back to Brexit. Dave Simpson, please, give us an update on what is... You said there's some news going on with the homeless situation in Wales and what you've been doing there, you guys. Trying to highlight awareness.
Absolutely. We've got... we've literally had hundreds of people, members of the public, going out and feeding the homeless. I was with a lady today, I'm not to mention her age, but she's been doing this for 24 years every Friday, including Christmas days if they fell on a Friday. I went and looked at her scrapbook today.
She's been doing this for 24 years every Friday. Sorry, carry on.
24 years.
Oh, bless her.
I met her last week out on the street. Absolutely wonderful couple. Her and her husband have been feeding the homeless on a Friday for 24 years and haven't missed a day. I'm going to be getting them a canopy for their van and sorting them out. I had a wonderful afternoon with them today, and it's fantastic. I met loads of other people who were doing groups. And these groups going round feeding the homeless, soup kitchens, people walking round giving out sleeping bags and what have you. But another thing that does involve Brexit, actually, a council which I am on the committee of, and we went to get some funding. It wasn't funding money-wise, it was funding for courses so that we could go on courses so that would enable us to identify vulnerable people. When I asked how these courses were being paid for by the local council, it was EU funded. So I posed the question in the meeting. It is already guaranteed funding till 2022. So this talk about Brexit dropping off the end of the cliff and all the funding disappearing is a load of rubbish, because Westminster have already guaranteed the funding that's already in place till 2022. So that's a little bit going back to Brexit, but in the same issue, because the funding I wanted was to sort out the homeless.
Right.
We've got a couple of situations where the homeless, I've become across quite a few reasons why they're actually on the street. Having a dog is one.
Yes.
Because if you've got a dog, you can't get into the night shelters.
Yes.
Now, asking somebody to give their dog up when it's probably the last thing in the world.
It's like giving up a relative, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Probably be a lot harder for most people, I suspect.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke with a guy this afternoon and he said, "You're going before the Aussies do." And I think she said, "I'm going then." And he says, "Ta-ra then." So you put that in context. And another reason is when they go into these hostels, while the government pay for their bed for the night, they have a surcharge. Now, this surcharge has to come out of their money. So there's another reason. And when they go into these hostels or night shelters, they're bound by quite strict rules. And obviously there's going to be some rules. It's too much of a step from going from the street into normal society, shall we say.
Yeah.
So I've learned a lot over the last couple of weeks since I last spoke to you, Olly. Politically, it's become quite an animal here because I've been quite vocal. Some of my videos have hit like 20,000 views in a couple of days. And it's got there's a lot of people that have seen it that are no councillors. I'm calling all leaders of councillors out and AMs. What are you doing about it? Get down on the ground, see what it's all about. And a couple of councillors have come out with me. They've seen the position. They are now taking it up. And obviously, coming from a councillor, it's better because I'm only a normal member of the public. But now councillors and AMs are getting involved. There's a lot of things that have been happening, especially in Wales, in Cardiff, where we got 139 people sleeping rough in Cardiff. That is too big a number. A Conservative councillor called for all the tents to be torn down in the city centre.
Really?
I think there was a bad choice of words. I don't think she should have said it. But she's been reinstated now. She was suspended by the Conservative Party for saying it, but I think she's been reinstated. However, we still have a huge problem, but it's not a one-size-fits-all, Ollie. It's individual problems. And what we've got to get down to is treating the rough sleepers or homeless or whatever you want to call them on an individual basis. So we cater for their specific needs rather than trying to round them up, pull them all in one building and think that building is going to fix all their problems. It could actually escalate some problems. So if you've got somebody with a drink problem and you put them in one of these hostels or hotels, there is other people in that building that also have a drink problem. And I don't just mean just the drink problem, there's drug problems,
Dave,
mental health problems.
hold that thought, because this comment is about to leave my screen, but I just want to give this update from Chris Baxter, bless him, thank you. Apparently, Dominic Greaves' amendment to essentially have 6 days to debate and vote on an alternative Brexit plan was the one that was voted down by 301 to 321. And considering that guy has been conspiring with Arch Bilderberger, Kenneth Clark, to disrupt Brexit, anything that gets voted down that he's been proposing is good news. Dave, carry on, please. Sorry.
Yeah, so we're trying to attack the problem from a public point of view now. The strength that I've added to it is awareness. I'm not actually fixing the problem. What I'm doing is I'm making people aware, and those people, it's their duty to fix these problems. Like it's the duty of the leader of the council to carry out the democratic wishes of the public. So I'm basically making people aware that when the public wants something and it doesn't come, they're starting to understand that a democratic vote means nothing. And that's quite frightening for some of the council leaders. And it's quite frightening for some of the MPs, I think. And we've created quite a stir. We've made a big noise about this. And it's shaking up a lot of institutions, a lot of charities. And I sometimes have been thinking over the last few days that we're facilitating people being on the street, and that is not what they want. When I ask them what they want a room where they can lock the door and feel safe.
Cool.
Is that too much to ask, Ollie, in 2019?
Well, you'd think not. And considering the amount of money that we seem to chuck around the planet here and there, not least of all giving it to middlemen politicians in Brussels, you would think that, yeah, we should maybe just follow the old maxim that charity needs to begin at home, because if you ain't looking after yourself, you ain't much good to anybody else, it seems to me.
Well, this is the story from last week. I became aware of a guy just up the road from my house at the back of some shops in a tent.
Right.
I went up there with the local councillor. We sat and talked to him. Listen, mate, it's too cold for you to sleep out tonight. Now, what we've got to do, we've got to get you an appointment with the homeless team, okay?
Yep.
So the councillor rung up and booked him in at 11 o'clock with the homeless team in Torvine. So me and Jason, I'm looking at Jason, Jason's looking at me, and we're going, what are we going to do with him tonight? Okay. Jason paid out of his own pocket and went and put him up in a hotel. Now, when we drove down to the hotel with this guy in the back of the car, I said to the guy, listen, mate, don't let me down. We'll put you up in a hotel, but you've got to turn up for that meeting tomorrow so the homeless team can help you.
Yeah.
Okay, he said, I promise you I'll turn up. So I said, get your head down, have a nice shower in the hotel. You can have something to eat in there. You can watch some telly. Tomorrow morning, Jason paid for him to have a breakfast the next morning. He duly turned up at the meeting at 11 o'clock to two women from the homeless team who took him back to his tent. Listen very carefully now, Ollie.
Go on.
They took him back to his tent and packed his tent up and moved him into the woods so the public couldn't see him.
Really? Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Yeah, well, I can. But it shouldn't be happening, though, should it? Shouldn't be happening. Look, Dave, I want to move on because I've only got a few minutes left, and I want to take another couple of calls. But please do pop in.
Nice one.
God bless you. Thank you very, very much indeed for calling in, and please keep me informed. And it's great to have you pop on the show and give us and create a bit of awareness. Look, I'm going to just read out this story, a bit of an update on what's going on with Dominic Grieve's amendment, which has been defeated by 321 votes to 301, a government majority of 20 votes. It would have meant any backbencher could propose Brexit legislation on a number of days between now and March the 29th, a power usually reserved for the executive wing of government. When they say usually, they mean forever and a day. And it's only now that this is being changed by that buck in the speaker, yeah? The news will come as a blow to MPs fighting for a second chance at a bloody referendum, as it would have opened the way to legislating for a final say vote, which looks pretty blown anyway, it has to be said. But anyway, that is obviously great news. And MPs now, thanks to folks in the comments telling me as well, Yvette Cooper's amendment is to try to rule out a no-deal Brexit. This is the one, personally, I'm expecting is going to be passed. Let's have a listen and see what they're dealing with it. You probably got it 2 minutes before me because I've got latency issues. So just excuse me for being late. But anyway, they are just waiting with bated breath to see if they can thwart Brexit and kick this can down the road. But this is going on right now. And I imagine, actually, that the announcement's probably already there. Sarah Boland, I love it when Olly rants. I tell you, it's difficult not to rant, isn't it? No, according to the comments, the noes have it. The noes have it. Hold on a sec. No to the amendment. Hold on a sec. I don't know what that means. I don't know which was the yes and which was the no. Carl Stephen, getting far too excited.
Yes, me like that.
This is the important thing, though, isn't it? Do you know what the deal is? Have you seen the story yet? Here we go. Hold on. This is them. Oh, come on, you bird. Here we go. Get on with it. Before the sound card packs up.
The ayes to the right, 298.
So they lost.
The noes to the left, 321.
Well, that's hold on. That's brilliant. Hold on. Let me get this right. That means that they are not extending Article 50. No.
98.
Let me get this right. I think that's right.
320.
30 vote majority.
So the noes have it. The noes have it. Unlocked. But we now come to Amendment J.
Oh, no.
In the name of...
No. She's won, hasn't she? She's won. I think she's won. Doesn't that mean that she's won, Carl?
I don't know, Ollie. I've turned everything off because I'm on the show.
Oh, for crying out loud! I'm getting different. You're useless. My news production team in the comments is absolutely useless. I know I'm supposed to know this. I've got Cooper was defeated, says Ken. Oh yes. Well, hey, go on. Oh well, if that's so, then thank God for that. I'll tell you what. That's amazing. That's awesome. That's the best news we've had since the referendum result. Actually, that's the best news that we've had since the referendum night, I would say. That is a massive piece of tidbit of information, don't you think, Joe? John?
I bet Soros is slamming his fist on the table now.
Oh, come on. We need a close-up of Ken Clark's visage. Or Anna Soubry. Show us a picture of Anna Soubry, Parliament TV. Sorry. Getting excited.
She was going to cry when the referendum result came through.
Oh, poor bird, eh? Poor bird. That's absolutely fantastic news. That is the best news that we've had in such a long time, and I can't believe it. But you know what? I'm gonna call it a night. Oh, and now I can't hear the music. What's going on with the music? Is it going to carry on or not? Are you going to carry on? Yeah, apparently so. It's nice of you. It's only an hour now, folks. It's only an hour of the show. And I know you probably think I'm packing up a bit early today, but I was going to run on a bit later had that amendment not come in, but it has. And that is awesome news. That is really, really fantastic news. Isn't it, Carl?
Hold on.
Time to crack a beer open, isn't it? One step in the right direction.
Damn right.
I found that thing as well, Ollie.
What thing?
Caroline Stephen posted this about the referendum. It's why is the second referendum?
It's Article 21, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go on.
But when we're saying about the second referendums, 5 years, it's the article she posted is on the 20th January. But it's why is a second referendum mentioned according to Local Government Act 2007 S 45 brackets 1? There has to be a 5-year gap. And Caroline, would she?
Yeah, but
worth looking in.
Well, it is.
They're not really running by the rules now, are they? Not really playing by the rules.
It looks as though it's not going to happen anyway, though, doesn't it? It looks as though they're not now pushing. Vote Leave has basically collapsed. I mean, the People's Vote people has pretty much collapsed and said, we're not going to push this now because there isn't the majority in Parliament to push it through. Basically because Corbyn wouldn't get behind that. But he did get behind Cooper, didn't he? And it failed! It failed! Way!
He sounds very happy today.
I want to say a big cheers to Carl Stephen, Don Davidson, Downliner, and Dave. Thanks for popping in, Dave Simpson. I'll tell you, that's fantastic news. This has been Daily Brexit. I'll see it tomorrow. I've no idea what's going on tomorrow. But I'll tell you what, it won't be as good as this. This has been brilliant. What an awesome, the first time we've had some decent news in months. It really is wonderful news, people.
Ollie.
Go on.
Ollie, hold on. So if you want to laugh, go to the Heart of British Politics Facebook group.
Yeah,
it's so
that's
hard
right.
to actually get a pro-Brexit opinion in there.
Oh, they'll be so upset tonight, won't they? They'll be upset. Hold on a sec. Let's do a quick.
Empathy, lads. Come on.
Hold on a sec. I've got them on the phone. This is them. This is the Heart of British Politics right now.
There's a reason they don't want Brexit. It's because it's their job.
Hey, what's that?
There's a reason they don't want Brexit. It's because of their jobs.
Oh, I'll tell you. I mean, they need to think about their. They need to think about their country. Yeah. Look, God bless you, mate. I'll see you tomorrow. And here's to us and bugger plutocracy. Yeah.